Hello, everyone. Yeah, that's right. It's a new voice. Yeah, I'm in charge now. This is my recall.
Wait, Ross?
Yeah.
Ross, is that you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hi, James.
So I thought I heard someone new just for a couple of seconds, and then I thought, hang on, that's Ross.
Yeah.
Anyway, what are you doing it? I thought this is Danger Recall, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh. Well, what?
I stole Colin's chair.
No, did you?
And I stole his mic.
Oh.
And now I'm in charge.
And why are you wearing his face? Did you steal his face as well?
No.
Oh no, that's just. Oh, I see. No, that's a Boris Johnson mask that you've customised. I get it. Right? Yeah. That's weird, isn't it?
So, hello everyone. This is Danger Recall. Very special episode of Danger Recall.
We can call it Ross's Recall.
Yeah, Ross Recall.
I'll just
joining
keep saying
me
recall.
Joining me today is the Dungeon Master, Dan Thompson.
Hello, Ross. I've always been a fan of Ross Recall. It's such a privilege to be on this show.
I see you hiding there, Dan. You just popped out of nowhere. God, that's good.
I'm hiding behind Colin's chair.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because it's lucky Colin isn't here because he'd be well pissed off about this, wouldn't he?
Yeah, that is good that he's not here. Oh wait, hold on. There's someone else on this Zoom call. There is someone here. It is the one and only Colin Hubbard.
Hello.
Oh, it's Colin.
Yeah,
what
not hosting this time around.
Yeah, what are you doing on Ross's Recall?
I'd like to call it Ross Call.
Hey, total Ross Call.
You know, I'm so glad someone didn't say that before I started speaking.
Yeah. Well, Colin wanted me to host because he wants to talk. We got a very important episode to talk about today. We are talking about episode 61, Bulletproof Junk, released on the 28th of July 2019. And Colin wants to talk a lot about this, and he doesn't want to worry about hosting it. He wants to just free ball it and talk. Just talk about MZ. The big thing that happens in this episode. I
mean, it's a bit weird because MZ's not in this whole episode.
Yeah.
Well, he is, but there's a part of it where he's not around.
Yeah, but it's interesting to talk about it, though, isn't it?
Absolument. Yeah,
exactly.
But I thought I'd give Ross the reins. I thought this would be interesting to be interviewed on Danger Recall as opposed to interviewing.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I guess.
And then, I feel like Colin's my teacher, and he's going to mark me out of 10 after this episode.
That's right, Grasshopper. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope I do you proud. So we have music in this episode from Kevin MacLeod, Sword Coast Soundscapes, God, that's a mouthful, Bit Orchestra, Young Logos, Techno Axe, DL Sounds, Ghost Stories Incorporated, Mattia Capelli, Darren Curtis, Matt R. Live, Doug Maxwell, and Ross Bludgeon. There's a lot of music in here that Colin used.
Ross Bludgeon. Ross Bludgeon.
Oh, sorry, Bludgeon.
Can I just ask? That does sound like a lot more than usual. Is that the case, Colin?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when I edited this episode together, I think because it was it was a different vibe than any episode that we'd recorded before. And I feel like when that sort of thing happens, you'll notice there's a few episodes throughout the Danger Club podcast where there's a lot more music and a lot more effects kind of thrown at it. And I think when these big moments happen, that's when I really indulge with the music and the effects and things. Yeah.
Nice.
And it really worked. This episode especially is really good in the old sound effects and music as well. Which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
We start this episode. We talk about in a preamble. We talk about it's Dan's wedding anniversary, and James is ill. Yeah. So, James, how do you feel now after 3 years?
Oh,
do you feel better?
Still pretty sick. I mean, that was a physical illness. I'm now suffering of a sickness of the soul and the heart.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately,
I shouldn't laugh at that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but no, I mean, for the simple days of just being, actually virally ill.
Yeah, but not really virally ill. But now, it's now more serious. Dan, how was your wedding anniversary that time.
Yeah, did you have a good time?
Goodness gracious, what year was that?
That was 2019 on the 28th. Well, this episode came out on the 28th of July.
We recorded it before, but yeah.
Yeah. So, I think you said that you were... I can't even remember now. I think you said...
I believe I was flying... to
Amsterdam,
I was flying to Amsterdam for work, wasn't I? Well, that's an exciting way to spend your wedding anniversary, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, why not?
And then we came back and we had a lovely time. I'm sure we did something nice.
You've had plenty more anniversaries since, so it's fine.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I don't know if we went away for that one. I think we had a holiday another time, but nice. Because I was at Paisley on the week after that, so it was.
Yeah, and there's a big thing that got released around the same time that this episode came out, and it was Pathfinder 2.
Yes.
Pathfinder 2nd edition came out and debuted at Gen Con that year. And we've been playing it ever since. We took the dive and we transferred it over.
I was because I remember joking on this one that it comes out while we're at Boomtown, so I'll be reading Pathfinder 2nd edition while at Boomtown, and I genuinely was. I took I took the PDF with me, and I spent all the time that we weren't working or partying, I was sitting in the tent reading this rule book and listening to podcasts that had done class guides and if I could get any kind of signal, watching YouTube videos and anything about the game to just try and absorb enough to be able to, because we had to record it not long after we got back, so I had a few days to learn this entire system, which is why we were scrambling. Very
impressive as well for a Pathfinder to learn a Pathfinder rule set, which is quite hefty.
That's why it's taken us what is it, 2 years since now to really start to be comfortable with it and start to be able to be I'm only just now feeling as comfortable with 2nd edition as I was with 1st edition.
Well, in between these two episodes, didn't we drop the Fall of Plaguestone?
Yes, we did a Fall of Plaguestone in between.
Yeah, that's how quick the turnaround
4-parter, I believe it was.
It is.
Yeah. Go and check it out. It's good.
Yeah, go and check it out. Fall of Plaguestone with some new characters that we played.
Yeah.
Dan, you mentioned I
was going to say, wasn't that the introduction of Sick Wolf?
Yeah, it was.
Absolutely, yeah. Introduction of Bubba as well.
Sure.
And Beelzebub, I think.
Yeah, because he was part of the original team.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bubba and Beelzebub were OGs.
Yeah. So Dan,
yes.
In this preamble, you mention how we could have prepared for this Rust Golem. Now, how do you think we could have prepared for this Rust Golem, which had a lot of, no weaknesses apart from adamantium? I'm just interested to know, when you said that, how do you think you would have prepared?
I think the main thing you could have done is found a way to rest before fleeing the city. I think just finding a way to be able to heal up and be at full resources to go against it. That would have given you a good chance. And I guess you could have done research. If you're going through the Golem works, maybe you could have done your research on golems beforehand. But that's not really that's not really necessarily something the Danger Club would have done. It's not a very Danger Clubby.
Not a very Danger Club thing. And actually, that did make me think, because obviously, that's a fairly sound tactic. We could have gone to ground for a bit. We could have, rested and healed and stuff. But that would have given the city a chance to lock the shit down. Because it was a gamble. And I still stand by the fact that the idea was to get out of the city as quick as we could before people realised what had gone down, and then really properly. Because obviously, he's a beloved figure. And I think we forget, just it would be basically we've just murdered, David Attenborough.
Yeah.
And we're somewhere in London. I mean, literally everyone would be trying to find us and kill us because, it's that kind of thing. Yeah. So we were just we've got to get the fuck out. We've got to get to Berkshire because they don't care about David Attenborough out there. after that sort of nature program diss in Berkshire. But that was the idea. But I think we did it right.
I think it's an interesting one, and we'll get more into it when we get into the actual meat of the episode. So, the preamble, I've got a question for you, Dan, about the Rust Golem, but I'll save it until we talk about that fateful moment. We have a Scott Scott's song again, where he talks about a rust monster, like the Prince Charming. Prince Charming. He goes rust monster, and he does that. So that's a reference. And then we get into the actual episode, and we start the episode. I start. And I roll a natural 1, which is obviously, that's the first roll of the game. Roll a natural 1, which starts it off. It's already been crap. You, Colin, say I could do this all day. What's that from?
Now, that is from, obviously, Captain America. He does it in all 3 of his films. It also happens in Endgame. Now, this was, at the time, a bit of a spoiler because what happens is someone says, I could do this all day. And I think I turn around. I think Caragor says it. And then Colin says, I know. And at the time... That would have been a big spoiler because Endgame had only just come out. And there's that scene where Captain America, this is a spoiler, the Captain America is fighting himself. And he says, the younger version of Cap goes, I could do this all day. And older Cap goes, yeah, I know. And it's really funny.
Very funny scene.
So, it is. And then he looks at his own ass. It's like, that is amazing.
Yeah. It's a great scene, actually.
It's a wonderful scene.
So good. Yeah.
So we then start getting into a little bit more tactics. And Caragor and M have a tactic that they want to fight this golem with a bit of flanking. Now, Colin, do you think that was the beginning of the end of MZ? Do you think that tactic was the nail in the coffin for MZ? Because from that point, you were deciding what to do, and you chose to go round the side, and obviously that's when it attacked you. Do you think that's where it was going to, where it went wrong?
I think it went wrong when Dan decided a few episodes before that he was going to kill him off. No, I'm joking. I think probably possibly yes. I mean, I was still... I found it quite hard to make decisions as a character sometimes, and quite often with seasoned players, they make decisions, and it kind of makes you as a player go, oh, maybe I should do that instead of the thing that I was going to do. But I do remember thinking M could run away, but it's not what he would have done. Standing next to M was a character that was always like up for battle and always wanted to be the first into battle and things like that. So, and he wouldn't have let his friend stand in front of a golem alone. So he wouldn't have left Caragor there. He knew that Fulton was hiding behind him a little bit. So he was kind of like, the decision was, no, we're going to fight this thing, because no one had suggested we run away. So there was a bit of that was his decision, and there was a bit of undecidedness from me as a player, I think. Yeah. And also I didn't think that if I did get hit that it would be that much damage. Do you see what I mean? I knew this thing was crazy, but I didn't know.
You only had 10 hit points, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, it was kind of a,
I mean, to be fair as well, like, I think playing true to his character, like, had you not done a Fulton, that's going to be unfortunate, but like, scarpered and run to the back, that would have been a very un-MZ thing to do. The guy was a blood rager or whatever it was, like he lived for combat. And I suppose, do you feel that in a way, like, he died as he would have wanted to?
But absolutely. I think there's a definite few mistakes that he made. He could have raged, right? That's one thing. He could have, got out of the way. He could have started looking for a way out. Because he could have just backed off and gone, because he had sight beyond sight. There was loads of things that I could have done, but then that's hindsight, isn't it? I could have bought a house in New Cross in 2002 and I'd be a fucking millionaire right now, but I didn't. Yeah. So
now, another quick question, and I doubt this is going to involve Dan as well. Obviously with raging, you get temporary hit points, and when you died you weren't raging, right?
Yeah.
Would those temporary hit points have made a difference? Would that have been a deciding factor in not dying? Or was it so catastrophic that it was just, nah, mate?
No.
It would have been worse, because the rage ends when you get dropped below 0, and then your hit point total shifts.
Yeah.
So basically, if you hit 0 while raging, suddenly the threshold for going from unconscious to permanently dead becomes much shorter. Like that's the gamble with raging. You do loads and loads of damage, but if you get dropped while you're raging, it's really dangerous.
Right.
However, he might have been able to do more damage in
that's the thing.
He would have rolled better, and maybe things would have been different. So again, hindsight.
I think
Exactly.
what would have been a massive game changer for this would have been a Wand of Cure Light. That's it's like an essential tool for a lot of low level PF1 parties. It's just like if you grab one of those from Dark Michael or something like that, and you think you don't have time to rest, you get in the junkyard and you can just Shania can just be like wand, everyone's back to full hit points. Now we can fight the thing.
Going back to what you said, Ross, you like we should have. Oh, no, what you said, Dan, actually, we could have slept. We could have all, when we got into the junkyard, gone, do you know what? We've just fought the boss. Let's all down a potion. But we didn't. Yeah. We didn't stop to think about that. Like, as we walked in, that probably would have been the best idea, to all drink a potion.
It probably would have done. But the thing is, we had the pursued mindset because we'd been pursued by guards. And then we literally just managed to, like Velda, I was quite proud of that, paralyzed him and made him stink. But he was literally 20 seconds behind us. Like that spell only lasted about 20 seconds. So it's that pursued mindset that we were like, but we can't run, and we'll get to a point where finally we can have a breather. And I think because obviously it said we can escape through the junkyard. So it's literally like, great, we get through this bit and we're fucking done, man. We'll go and find a little hidey hole and just rest up. And so I think, again, the hindsight thing. Yeah, of course, it would have been way better to stop and pause. And that dude never even bothered to look for us. He was just like, oh, well, they've gone now, and he made me paralyzed with smell. It's, and plus, obviously, there was bits of junk falling on us at all times.
Yeah, it wasn't safe to.
That was pretty tough. That was nasty damage that Felder took.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. Oh, we're nearly there. Kerrang! It's like,
right.
Can I say, I don't know if you got this on your notes, Ross, but I just want to point out, I just love the visual gag of Fulton finding a door on the, in some junk and trying to go through it.
Sort of labyrinth style, just sort of like...
Yeah. And then, obviously, the mood changes as the Golem slams MZ with a critical hit, and it does triple damage. It's all those cards that we've been getting, the critical cards, some of them have just been pretty rubbish, like you switch places or whatever.
You feel a bit sick.
This one, I think, on top of the fact that MZ tried to flank, then Dan rolling so well was just the nail in the coffin. Like, because how many you were on 10 hit points, weren't you?
Yeah, that's correct.
MZ. And then Dan rolls the damage for it, and he rolls 3 6s in a row, which is, and then the Rust Golem gets I assume plus 12, which was 30 points of damage. So his to hit is plus 12, and then you end up having 30 points of damage, and you're only on 10, and your hit point is 12, was it? Was it 12 or was it 18 or something?
If it's 3 lots of 6s, so that's 18, and then triple that, you're actually looking more like 50. I seem to remember the damage being over 50.
It was
and it's just crazy, oh my god.
It was 30 points of damage.
30 points of damage, was it? Yeah. So, and it's
1d6 plus 4.
Okay. So yeah.
So that's what happened. Yeah.
And it was a brilliant use of sound effects. One, the music just stopped, and you used the sound effects of the Rust Golem and the silence and the eeriness of the slams as well. When Dan, explains how MZ dies. Now, here's a question. Before I get into how you felt, Colin, I just want to ask Dan a couple of questions in terms of how did you feel that this monster was a bit overpowered? I know, obviously, it probably was the right level for us, but do you feel that on hindsight it was too powerful? And if so, did you feel like taking off some hit points or the damage that it did before you told us how many hit points it did?
I think it was a hard encounter, and I really looked, because obviously we had a little gap in between because the fight goes over 2 episodes. We had a little break in between where I'm like, okay, do I do anything to this monster? But ultimately, it is for a group of 5 characters, it is a It is an effective challenge. It's a very hard challenge, but it is a, and it's the culmination of the entire adventure. So the challenge of that's the point of a boss fight. The challenge of the boss fight is not just that individual fight. It's a challenge of how well all of the previous fights have gone. How damaged are you from the fight through Uncle Goodens, from the escape, from all these little bits that chip away at you. And this is kind of the culmination of it. So I thought about it, but also at the end of the last episode, you guys kind of had it not on the ropes, but you were getting a handle on it. You were and I think you felt very frustrated because it kept resisting damage, but you were still getting a lot of damage through, and you were just wearing it down. And it was I was looking at it being like, that's why the swarm thing why I did the swarm thing in the previous episode, and then cancelled it again, because I was like, we got to get the swarm thing in because this thing's about to die. So let's just do that so we can see it. And then I turned it back immediately because I was just like, oh god, the swarm's complicated to run. I'm not doing that anymore. That's bollocks. So it was fine, but I do believe when you roll the damage, when it's something like that, you have to follow the dice. I think if you take away that moment, you're taking away the whole essence of the game. It's fine if it's like, if somebody rolls enough damage to take something to 1 hit point and you're like, actually, all right, fine, you kill it because I don't want to do another round of combat and it's pointless. You've won this fight anyway. Let's just do that. But when it's literally the death of a character, to suddenly take that away from the random element of it, that's removing kind of the whole core of the game, which is that this can happen. And then if I do that, then literally it is just me deciding whether you live or die. And then it's like, it's not really a game anymore.
And I think and then obviously, let Colin speak, but it strikes me because of course players are going to ask a DM like, but somebody died. But, the nature of the game is we're putting these characters into incredibly dangerous situations. And what would be the point unless the jeopardy of death is there? And of course, after a fight, I'm sure, Dan, I don't know, you maybe, like you say, ask yourself those questions. But, whenever we've had character deaths, either in this or in private campaigns, it is, like everything else, it simulates actual death. And 1 minute he's there, and 1 minute he's not. And it is, and it's just, and
it's
that,
not dramatic.
It's not dramatic.
It can be in the way.
It can be, and of course, everyone thinks about manfully running up the breach and stabbing the thing just as the lightning bolt. But quite often, it was just like, that's it. You're done. That's it. You're done. You're out. And obviously, that's what we all. That's the jeopardy that goes on.
I think that we had it quite lucky in terms of me killing Uncle Goodens straight away, and not really having, because I imagine Dan was like, yeah, okay, cool, he's got some good power, I think it'll be a good fight, and then obviously I kill him, and then you're like, oh fuck, okay, and we need, like you say, a boss fight. So let's go over to the man himself, the man that happened to, Colin. How did it make you feel? So from when it happened, from then the realization to then the damage, you got told and all that, how did you feel?
Well, I just want to pull up a couple of things before we do that. The first thing is when Dan said you've got his attention, I turn around to you, Ross, and go, get their attention.
I did have that, but I was like, it's from The Office.
That's a reference to the British Office. There's a great scene where David Brent says that. And then there's a whole High and Dry by Radiohead. Just want to bring that up. I sort of referenced that. And then there's an SpaghettiOs, which is a quote from The Simpsons. There you go.
You gave me these notes that you said.
I know, I sent them to you.
I'll skip these ones because I want to know what Colin feels. And you're like, I want to talk about
let's come on.
All right, so
no, it's all right.
It's weird thinking about it now because at the time I feel like it was just part of the game, and I was kind of I don't know. Look, I really didn't want MZ to go because this is the first character I created, and I think I was just starting to get into it was a long time where I was kind of just listening to the episodes as we recorded them for sound problems and stuff like that, whereas now I was actually playing the game. And also, Dan and I had a chat sort of backstage about flushing out MZ's backstory a little bit as well. So we were talking about that and making it a bit more rounded, which is why a couple of episodes before you had the whole thing in the boneyards with that character with the antlers and stuff like that. So for that reason, it was really, really sad. But at the time, I think I was just like, this is part of the game. This is what happens. And I'm going to take my headphones off and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to listen to everyone. I'm not going to walk out or anything. But actually, yeah, it was quite chill. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. That happens. And I remember all of us having a conversation afterwards and you, Ross, definitely saying you dealt with it better than I did. Like I had to leave when we played a social game and we had another friend who literally didn't come back to the game for about 10 weeks because he was like, he took it very hard. And that happens because you really create these characters and you really, grow to love them and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a bit weird. It was a bit twisted. It was a bit, but it was calm in a way. I was like, yeah, okay, that's just what happens in the game. And also, just from an editor's point of view, it was fantastic to work on. Like it really was.
Yeah.
That finding that sound that's like boom, and then finding the metal sound that goes afterwards when he pulls his like spikes out of MZ's like chest.
Yeah.
That was really cool. Finding that and putting effects on it to make it sound like it did was really cool. So,
I've got a question for you. Do you think you would feel the same way if Bubba died now?
I don't know actually.
Because I feel that, like, with everyone's first character, it's always a bit like, oh, I don't really feel that connected to this person,
right?
And you like literally had to go straight into it in on a podcast. Obviously, you played a couple of games before, but like, maybe you didn't get a chance enough to really connect with MZ as much as I feel that you have done with Bubba.
Right, okay.
And I don't know, like, I feel that maybe, like, for me, the more we do the podcast and the more episodes and the more you spend with characters and doing them, you're like, fuck, actually, no, I don't want to die. Like, actually, I really don't.
Move.
Yeah. Because you, as much as I joke about wanting to play, a wrestler and all these other characters, like, yeah, it'd be weird more so now because you've got an audible like history of that character. I don't know.
And I think it's, again, role-playing, emulating actual life and death. With death, there is no choice. So if you retire a character, well, that still leaves him in the cupboard. You can bring them out and have an adventure and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but if they die, they are dead. Now, I know we've bent the rules slightly, spoiler, because MZ sort of exists in a weird, like, little pocket axe universe, which is quite funky. But generally, like, if the character's gone, they're gone, and he can't really take part in the adventures anymore. And that, I think it's that finality that can be quite difficult to deal with. That obviously, Ross, you were saying, I don't know how you guys feel, but you always want to have the choice.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have the choice, wouldn't it? Yeah. I don't know. There's so much more to this episode. I mean, I know we sort of.
We beat the Rust Golem for one. We do actually beat them.
Well,
this is the thing.
After the death, we sort of, the luck changes and we all start hitting the golem, like, except Velda, who just keeps shooting.
I had nothing else. I literally had nothing else.
Yeah, you didn't have anything else.
I was looking for the door, like the exit.
Yeah, you did, yeah. And then we have again, after the episode and after the death, like, when we have a chance and we defeat it, we have some, like, beautiful music. It's kind of eerie, but also beautiful as well. But then we have, like, a thing where we don't know what to do because we can't go back to Camarga because we obviously want to help. We want to help MZ and we want to bring him straight back without even him, like, speak. Usually, what happens in D&D is you kind of go, oh, we need to speak to dead and ask them if they want to be brought back, because that's what happened to my character in a social game. We like, they spoke to me in sort of the waiting room of like a purgatory and said, do you want to be brought back? Yeah. But we can't go back to Camarga, and so we have to push on somewhere else, and it's like, where the fuck do we go? Yeah, and there's a nice bit where I say drunk in your ear, like
yeah, that's
a
real nice
moment.
That was a nice little performance.
What would M want? Like, we're running over a bit, but like, what would M wanted us to do straight away? Just carry on, just not bring you back.
I think so. I think M would have just been like, yeah, just keep on fighting, keep on doing the thing. You know, he's a product of war, isn't he? He's like,
yeah, he
was a soldier, really. Even though he'd not really been to war or anything, but he was always a fighter. So he's lost people in the past, and that's kind of soldier mentality, isn't it? Really, to just press on. You know, and these things are very sad, but you have to live with it. So, you know, and avenge the death and move on.
Yeah, and then so we start talking about what to do. We mention Yanderhof, and then we read a note from what is his name? What is his name again, Dan? The note that it was from
Uncle Gooden.
Yes, it was from Uncle Gooden.
It was from
yeah, and he's talking about that Freya Axborn has the shards, and she's going to Yanderhof. Mm-hmm. So we decide to go to Yanderhof because we think that we can resurrect M there. Because Fulton is just we need to bring him back. We need to bring him back. Like there's no other option. And then we have a really lovely we get some treasure as well, and then we have a really lovely end of like season montage where Dan talks about all the characters that have come before and all the things that have happened and all the people that the Danger Club have touched and been involved with, which I thought was a really good moment to end that sort of like run, and a nice moment on the end of the episode.
Yeah, that was great, Dan. That storytelling bit was great, and it gave, again, from an editor's perspective, gave me so much to play with. I fucking loved putting that together.
It was great fun. I mean, it killed me that we couldn't get the rights to use the piano bit from Layla to put over that, but but it actually, it sounded great.
One day we can re-edit it in when we're massive.
Our bootleg version. Yeah, Clapton. Can we have the?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure down with it.
And then we end up on the side of a mountain with the rain pouring down. MZ's gentle reposed corpse, wrapped in some bandages and stuff, I think it was. Sort of definitely changed. I definitely feel that the characters, and it was really nice to hear that, we had in the Danger Club, we always do silly stuff. We all do silly things and banter with each other, but it's also nice as actors, all of us together, to have other things than just silliness and to have things that we can draw on as because we are actors and we like to be funny, but we also like to show a little bit of tragedy when your feelings gone. And I feel that this episode is really nice on that. Like, there's a somber tone near the last half of the thing. And Colin, why didn't you want to speak in the entire last half of the episode?
Because M wasn't there. So
did you feel like you couldn't speak though, as a player?
No, I felt like I could have chipped in and stuff and whatever, but I just felt.
You speak when you're dead. I'd have knocked your teeth out.
Yeah. I felt like it was the done thing to just kind of go, okay, right. I no longer make choices in this game because my character isn't around. So I'm not going to influence anyone. I'm not going to speak my piece. I'm just going to let this play out. And I think that was nice. And I think, as you said, Ross, we do like to do that drama thing. And it was really lovely to listen to your performances. And again, not to influence them, just to sit back and go, yep, that's what happens in the game. When you're not in it, you're not in it. That's it.
Final thoughts on this episode before we wrap it up. Dan, what were your final thoughts on this episode?
Oh, what a moment. What a huge, one of the most important moments in the history of the club. Like, this event changes all of the characters so much and impacts everything onwards. It's such a it's such a strong moment and played out so well by everyone else. And some of the role play that comes out of it over the next few weeks is so good and leads to some incredibly joyous moments. As with anything, the most somber episode we have is followed by one of the stupidest and funniest episodes that we have, because we just have a great time with it. I can't wait to talk about it next week. Do you want one massive spoiler?
Yes, please.
Yeah, go for it.
You are told in the note from Uncle Gooden, you're told that you have the shard from Grask Oldeth, the Lord of Belkzen, the Lord of the Orcs. That's been given to Freya. They've traded it in return for Caragor's life, effectively, or different people's lives, to send on. If you would like to know where Grask Oldeth got his shard from originally to eventually pass it on there, you need to listen to Lockdown Legends again, because it's in there.
Oh, so go back and listen. Little
That's
treat
not a spoiler.
for the ears.
That's an Easter egg, mate. That is an
Yeah.
Easter egg.
Go. So many little threads.
Yeah, nice. I
Nice.
bet you were like, yeah, good. Yeah, that's good.
One day I shall reveal this thread, and the thought all that time I spent thinking about it will
On
be
Danger Recall.
will be not wasted.
Go on, James. Final thought.
Yeah, massive moment. I remember, we've spoken about it at the time, but I remember sitting around the table, and it was just, I think the expression, it felt as if the air had been sucked from the room, had sort of happened. It was that kind of the sort of shell shock for all of us. And, because we are, sensitive creatures, and you pick up on vibes and things like that, and just the vibe just changed immediately. We knew as soon as Dan was sort of totting up the damage, it was like, oh, this is going to be bad. And then when that dropped, what a moment. I'll never forget it.
Yeah. And the man that happened to, Colin, what did you think of this episode?
I think it was great, man. Like it was, it really was. Like it's one of the best episodes, especially from the earlier stuff that we made, I think. And it was the game. We saw the game being played out, and sometimes the game is that these characters
go down.
They fall. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it changes characters. It gave us new things. It put to bed old things. It was good. And obviously very sad to lose that character, and I really didn't know what to do after that. But we find out, don't we?
Yeah, and we'll see what happens in the next episode. So that brings us to a close, gentlemen. So I'm going to say goodbye from me. It's goodbye from the Dungeon Master.
Thank you, Ross.
It's goodbye from James Foxy Lockhart.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from the man who is dead. It is Colin Hubbard.
Thank you. Goodbye, Danger
I kind of hope
Lings.
Connor would just play it silent.
I'm not dead. I'm not dead.
I'm not dead yet.
Bye.
Bye, Danger Lings. Bye.